Right. That's Reptilian Resistance 2012 channel on YouTube. Yeah, it's brilliant. Brilliant. I watch all my channels, all my stuff on there. Reptilian Resistance 2012. Now, so what it is like the earth is flat. Yeah, the earth is flat, right? And it's got this dome over it. A dome, like a glass dome. Yeah, like a dome. And that dome, right, it's glass or it's sapphire. It's like a big bleeding diamond. And where the moon and where the sun? The moon and the sun are inside the dome, spinning around it like a ball on a roulette table. Are you bleeding mad? No, listen to me. Right. Okay, the earth is flat and there's a dome on it, right? And I get that, right? But why are we out waiting for extraterrestrials from other planets to come here? Because I don't know. How do they get through? How do they get through the dome? Well, they fly in. They've got special powers where they can move through the dome from the outside in, but not outside in, but not inside out. Give us another coconut spliff. Any more of that Dutch gold? The glass dome stops NASA from getting out. That's why all the photos of the Earth are fake. They're models made by Stanley Kubrick, who, you know your man, Stanley Kubrick, the film director who made Ghostbusters and Back to the Future. Well, him, the guy with Parkinson's, before he got the Parkinson's, he was a whistleblower. He blew the whistle on a flat Earth, and that spaceships can't go through the dome. I still don't understand. You're saying, okay, what about all the television spaceships? What about all the NASA on the television spaceships? You know, all that stuff, the shuttle and all that stuff. It's all fake. You know, if you watch the video, Satanic Space and Hollywood, on the Reptilian Resistance Channel 2012, you'll see, right, that there are no spaceships. It's all magic. It's all sorcery. It's all magic. There was no NASA never went into space. They can't get through the glass dome. But so you're saying that the aliens that we're waiting on here tonight in this crop circle? Well, it's not really a crop circle. It's a ring of burnt out cars that we robbed and we put them in a circle. We're going to attract the aliens. Right. Now this crop circle, right? This fire will make it to attract the aliens. The aliens will be able to come through the sapphire dome, but NASA can't get out. Right, you fucking got it. That's exactly it. NASA can't get out. So what you're saying is, right, that human spaceships are all fake. Yes. And alien spaceships are all real. Yes. And that the Earth is flat. Yes. Okay. Well, the Earth is flat. NASA and all the other space agencies are not real spaceships, but aliens from other planets are. You bleeding got it. You fucking nailed it. That's exactly it. But I don't believe. Hold on. What that? Oh Jesus! I told you they're here. The aliens are coming. What the? Look! It's landing. The alien is landing. Oh Jesus! Look, the door's open. Oh, first contact. Close encounters of the third kind. Oh, we are one. Hello, you beautiful people.
we dabbled in it in the early days because we were young and, you know, you're inquisitive, really. But as far as any kind, we never sacrificed anybody on stage or anything like that. It was, the image was built up basically from when we did the first album, the record company did the album cover, and that's what done it. The inside of the cover was upside down cross, and so that sort of started everybody off. And
you got your cross on today the right way up.
But yes, it's always the right way up.
I mean, I wonder if that's a kind of makes it a little bit disingenuous, really, the idea of being from the dark side. It was a sort of a cheap thrill for the audience.
No, we believe in what we do, what we play, and everything we play is we have to feel it and believe in it. The audience, you can only judge by we've been here for 45 years. I mean, you answer it.
What about the Devil's Interval? Tell me about that, the diminished fifth.
Well, that again was just something I liked. I never even thought of it. I never even knew about it, to be honest, when I first did it. And then later I know, oh, you shouldn't be playing those notes. Why? I mean, I didn't understand all that. I mean, we were 19 years old, you know.
You need to explain that, I think, for people watching. What was behind that? What was the sound? And
well,
what
Black Sabbath was the first song that had that in. Down, 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 and that was apparently the notes you never use, which we did. But I never knew that, and to me it was creating music, and that's all I do is create music. I don't try and create anything to destroy people or to upset anybody. And as I say, it's helped more people than they say they're supposedly we're Satanists and stuff. We're certainly not.
But these things have consequences, don't they?
And on bass, Geezer Butler, a frustrated accountant who dabbled in witchcraft.
It's hard to explain to people, but it was like a very close unit, and we had this thing going on with each other that was very strange. And Geezer in particular had all sorts of weird dreams and weird thoughts, you know. It might have been the acid, I don't know.
At the time I was seriously into occult stuff and black magic and all that kind of thing. I had this little apartment which I'd painted black and had all these upside-down crosses all around the place, pictures of Satan everywhere. And Ozzy brought this book around for me, and it was like this really old 15th century, like, old book. And it was all written in Latin. It was all about black magic. It had all these, like, drawings of Satan and everything in it. And I just had a really weird feeling about it. And that same night, I woke up in the middle of this horrible nightmare, and I just saw this like black shape at the bottom of my bed, just like staring at me. It was like a black, malevolent thing. It's just a horrible feeling of it, and I just totally freaked out. And I told Ozzy about it, and he came up with the lyrics to Black Sabbath.
What is this that stands before me?
It was very different, and we knew it was very different when we done it. It was almost frighteningly different, you know.
Feather in black, where its points at me.
We had these gigs at the blues clubs, and we thought, should we play that song we'd done? We were trying to see what the reaction would be, and we played Black Sabbath, and God, the people's faces when they heard that.
Oh, no!
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever you are in this world on this December 25th, 2015 on 11/11. Woo, spooky, woo, new age, man. Universal Standard Time. With me, Thomas Sheridan, on the velocity of now here on the YouTube channel, thomassheridanarts.com, as I would be unfair to ask anybody to work on Christmas Day. I pre-recorded this show in advance, so if I die between then and now in a brothel, you'll be listening to a ghost. Okay. Now, speaking of ghosts, I want to talk. Well, firstly, I hope you enjoyed that comedy sketch at the beginning. and I hope you got a laugh out of that. It's been something I've been wanting to do for a while, and we'll try. I've got a bit of a cold, but as I'm pre-recording this, I'll get probably better as we get closer to the broadcast date. We'll try and get a 2-hour show out of it. My website is thomassheridanarts.com. I'm only joking about going to the brothel. I've never been to a brothel in my life. I could get a woman. Anyway, loads of things I want to talk about tonight. Loads of things. Or today, whatever it is. Now, it is Yule, and there's the reason why I picked this this time to put the show out is because I like them. I have a sense of style. I'm a showman in some ways. You've got to be a showman. That's why when I do talks, even talking about them on a stage, talking about the darkest subjects, I always make sure to throw in a joke, because that's the point. You cannot live your life in fear. Yeah, maniacs run the fucking planet, but you cannot live your life in fear because there's so much to do here. And always be wary of people who try to trap you into a sense of fear or a sense of helplessness, that you can't do anything about it, whether they're the climate change nut job saying the world is going to boil, or the previous generation said it was going to freeze, or anyone that says, like, the Illuminati are going to rule the world. We'll be talking about Alex Jones later on as well. Don't let them put you into a sense of fear, because that's not what life is about. Now, just after you heard the themes tune there, I played a little clips I found of Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath. Great band. We all love them. And he's talking about the diminished fifth. It's basically the note when you go from like a triscale in a major note, and then you fall back to a diminished note on a half tone. It's hard to explain, but it's something that I've always played in my music. And I didn't know it was considered the devil's pitch or the devil's tone. It was actually banned during the Middle Ages. And right up until the 1700s, there were still famous composers who would not put the Musica Diabolicus, or it was, into it. Now, the song Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath has that part at the end of the note, and that's the devil's pitch, or the diminished fifth. And it sounds fantastic. And the reason I'm putting that in here is because so many of you praise me about the theme tune to The Velocity of Now, which you just heard before I came on, which I wrote myself on my own Yamaha synthesizer in the back there. It only took me about a half an hour to write and record that. And it sounds so good because I'm using the diminished fifth on the sequence. And it gives it that sense of driving intensity. It's very dramatic. So to me, it's not sinister. But what I found interesting was that Geezer from and Ozzy, when they were starting Black Sabbath, admit they were involved in the occult, reading occult books. And that's not the only time Geezer has spoken about seeing strange figures, when he, at the shadow people in the end of his bed. There's another documentary out there somewhere, I can't find it, it's not on YouTube, of when they recorded the album Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. And they recorded it in some castle somewhere in England. And Geezer was saying the place was haunted. He said he'd never seen so many ghosts. So Geezer Butler's a very interesting guy. In fact, all of Black Sabbath are. If you listen to Tony Iommi, you can hear how articulate and interesting the man is. And it just goes to show you that we've been dumbed down so much. Well, Geezer, he went to a middle-class school, but all the others, like Tony, are working-class guys from poor Aston and Birmingham, poor neighborhoods, industrial neighborhoods. And look how articulate, like, say, Tony Iommi is compared to, say, the rappers you have today, or even like the boy bands and all these types. They just don't have that level of eloquence. Now, I think that they were actually damaged. I know in the early days when Black Sabbath toured America, they were actually followed by all kinds of weirdos, but they were also really big amongst the Vietnam vets guys, and there used to be like riots outside their gigs. Guys in wheelchairs who were injured in Vietnam attacking the cops. And that's a good thing, because that was the power. That's the shadow coming to them from the bottom up. Very important thing to do. And also, now the first album has the crucifix upside down, and Tony Iommi has always wearing the big crucifix up, and it's been on like a big backdrop behind them when they play live. I actually do believe that Tony Iommi was actually approached at some point by said, whatever you did with Black Sabbath in that first album, do the reverse now. Now, people think, this is a weird one for you, and a weird one on Christmas Day, and I'm going to horrify all you Christians, but this is what I've learned. when the band first came out, they were involved in magic ritual. At least Geezer was, okay, and they they had the album, the hype, the name, the scary music. It was fantastic scary music, by the way. And they had the inverted cross inside it. So it was that inverted cross became a charged coupled device. All the energy was poured into it. Both one who were by ones who thought they were Satanists and Lucifer worshippers, and others who were Christians and a negative, poured into it. Now all that energy was stored up in that. At some point, now we always remember John Lennon. What really caused John Lennon's death was when he said back in the mid 60s that he was bigger than Jesus. It took much later until Mark Chapman killed him. But you've immediately got to do something to restore that and flip it around. This is why I use comedy a lot in my stuff. It's because that flips around the energy instantaneously. This is why the bard, we'll be talking more about as the year progresses, about the bard being a much more such a powerful figure in medieval Irish and European society, but especially in Irish and Celtic society, Gaelic society. Now, and in England, and flipping that around, you've got to flip it around. It doesn't matter what the image is. If it's a smiley face, you have to flip it around to a sad face. If it's an upside down crucifix, you have to flip it around to an upside down crucifix. And what you did is you're creating a kind of a deflective force to deflect the negative vibes away from you. So someone somewhere came up to Tony Iommi and said, "Look, I don't care if you don't believe in Jesus or not. You must wear the crucifix upright and be very prominent about it in order to protect yourself from down the road." And so he did. And that's a talismanic inversion. It's very important. You take you find the object and you reverse it somehow. Now, there's loads of examples of that. Logos use it an awful lot. When a company has a bad experience, say they produce some product and the product is terrible, they will and it's got them sort of like, I say, a car company and the car has been recalled, they'll often change their logo to the reverse of what it was. So they know, look, magic is not necessarily hocus pocus. It's just a way of messing with consciousness to create change in the material world. And that's a classic example of it. So I hope you're all keeping well. It's been an amazingly fast year. Just flew by. I'm involved in a whole load of things, and next year it's going to be even more amazing. Now, we're going to be talking a little bit later about coming to the end of this like 99 7-year whatever moon cycle that's been coming along, and I picked this date because it just jumped out to me when I was looking at the lunar calendar. This changeover, in my heart, I believe it's real. And I'll explain why later. And it's also very personal and also involving groups of souls, not the whole world as a sense, as a groups of consciousness of the whole world as a whole. Though maybe it is because we think that like the exterior world is a reflection of this interior world. Now, this guy Conor McGregor, I want to talk about him first. He won the UFC championship there in Las Vegas, and there's a tremendous amount of hype about him being into the law of attraction and the secret and all this. I don't know yet if he is or not. He may just be using that law of attraction and the secret thing because he knows it's popular. His sister's also very involved in all that kind of stuff. And he may be just using that language because those memes, those terms, the general public are very familiar with them. In reality, there's times I listen to him, I'm not joking you. I've watched a few of his interviews, a good few in the last few days, and I swear to God he sounds like Aleister Crowley sometimes. The way he comes out with those satirical quips, the slagging, the sympathetic magic. When he took the belt off your man Aldo backstage, I think it was a Brazilian TV, and wore it, and went to him behind the mirror, behind the glass door, come and get it, come and get it. That's classic sympathetic magic. It was his from that moment on. Now, I don't know where he's learned this, if it's instinctual or he's picked it up, but he's got it. Is it PR? Is it boastfulness? Absolutely it is, but it's beyond that. It's the same thing that Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali got. Now, one day, he will get the shit beaten out of him. But that doesn't matter. You see, we're not a series of finalized events. Your life doesn't end because a relationship or a divorce happens. It's just a punctuation mark in your travel. And what you did until that final punctuation mark is really what matters. And this guy, when he has the shit kicked out of him and he's lying there inside the octagon with the blood out of his teeth, will it matter if he has that he's been beaten, if he has 40 million in the bank, a load of TV shows lined up, and probably God knows what other business interest? Does it matter? It does not matter. Because I saw a very funny meme on one of the jokey Facebook sites, and it's like a guy with a funny face, and he's saying, "She's broken up with me. I don't care. It's not like she can unsuck this dick." And I burst out laughing because there's a lot of truth to that. And that's actually a very philosophical way of thinking, because it's not the punctuation. See, we live in a society where they tell us to determine everything by the punctuation mark. You have a relationship with someone, it's absolutely fantastic, and it falls apart at the end, and it becomes nasty. If you only concentrate on the nasty bit at the end, you're not a truly enlightened human being. It's the journey along the way. We will all meet failure and demise one day. We'll all be on the breaking wheel of life. We'll all be dust and ashes one day. But it will be until that point what we achieved that really, really matters. And that's where you judge a person. Did you waste your life? Or you judge yourself, really? No one's just to judge you. Did you waste your life, or did you have a blast? Did you make the most of it? It doesn't. See, this is the problem with this alternative movement. When I had like people like Alex Jones say, "When are we going to wake up? When are we going to wake the masses up? It's going to be a big shift." And David Icke going, "The human race will get off its knees." It won't. It'll never happen. Look around you. It'll never happen. However, if you learn how to enjoy the journey getting there, and see it for the growing gift of personality it was, then how the ending happens is irrelevant. When you read, I mean, I've seen many movies that were great and the endings are like, doesn't matter. This movie's still great. Doesn't matter how they ended. We've been conditioned and cultured through our education system to see everything as the final end result. Like we're doing a test, or we're getting our final pass mark at the end. That's not how a druid would live. That's not how a conscious person would live. That's how an awakened person should live. You should be in the moment and swirling in that moment. And your good days and your bad days are all important. But when it comes to an end, you look back and you say to yourself, wow, I've been through a lot of crap, and some of it was pretty fucking amazing. And that's how you do it. It's the journey. That's why when people have terminal illnesses, towards the end they get that sense of peace, because they've gone through all the inevitability has reached them, and they've gone through all their life, and they've done a sort of a life review, and they've realized, hey, it wasn't so bad after all. Now, if we could approach our relationships, our friendships, our businesses, and everything else we do like that, our lives would be a whole lot better. But with human race, there's still a long way to go. The fact that people in modern times now think that the earth is flat, and when our ancestors, God knows how many thousands of years ago, or who were eating their own headlights, knew it was round, it goes to show you that we're really in a devolving place. But who cares? I don't give a toss that society is falling around me. I don't give a toss that the world is falling apart. I am going to have a nice time. I'm going to enjoy myself, and I'm going to share my enjoyment with others. That's what I'm going to do. What's the point otherwise? Okay, well, live in fear of something that's going to happen anyway. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I know there's different parts in your life, and it's different for men and women. Men and women process relationships differently, and people process their lives differently at different stages. So in your 20s, you tend to be very intense, or in your 30s, and then when you get older, you're less likely to give a toss. You're more likely to be humiliated than anything else, or you're more protective of your loved ones. And that's what you fear. You don't fear so much for yourself, you fear for your loved ones. And this is how it all works out. Now, Conor McGregor, I've seen some of the videos of him entering the ring, and it's very interesting. There's always this kind of like shift in his consciousness. I was going to say persona, but it's not really persona. He's almost like getting into the zone. And he's shifting. You can see it. There's like this shift happens. This flip happens inside him. And Then he goes to beat the shit out of the guy. And I've seen all the insults he gave to your man Aldo, and they were pretty nasty. I mean, I don't think I could talk to anyone like that. But that's the stakes he's playing at. And then they gave him. I saw another clip where they gave him an iPad, and it was all people in Ireland slagging him off, and he was saying he was laughing his head off at it. What does it matter? I'm a millionaire, and that's the way to be. That's like what Crowley was like. When I hear him talking about his opponents, it reminds me of saying things like, he's passed his fitness test. His gynecologist gave him the all clear. That's very similar to some of the things you read by Crowley, who was a shameless publicist, but the publicist was also part of the magic as well. When Crowley worked for that Irish American newspaper in that pro-German Irish American newspaper in World War One in New York, and he was writing things like, congratulations on bombing London with the Zeppelins. Here is my bank manager's house address, and make sure to hit them a bank, him too. Like those kind of things are funny. It's satirical, and that kind of thing is unnerving to people. It's unnerving to them, and it works. You could always get. I mean, I discovered as a very early age. When I used to get beat up a lot as a kid because I lived in a neighborhood full of thugs, and being a very shy kid, I used to get bullied and picked on a lot. I found that the thing that saved me was like being able to joke with the scumbags, the local skinheads and boot boys. They used to come down to me to listen to me tell jokes, and suddenly I was left alone, never bothered by it. And then later, when I learned how to play guitar, they leave you alone again. You see, this is what's a problem today with this. Oh, I'm triggered. I'm triggered because I'm outside my safe space. And then making kids wear little white ribbons or whatever it is around the schoolyard going, I've been bullied. I've been bullied. I'm a victim. I've been bullied. And you think that, that's like, do you think that's going to save them? No, life is full of hard lessons. You either have to fight with your fists or fight with your brain. And if you're really clever and you can do both, you can be very successful in this life. You can fight with your fist and your brain. Conor McGregor has that. He's not like. Oh, that's another thing too as well. The way he talks and carries on may be shocking to Americans because of your puritanical background and your puritanical history. But working class guys in Dublin talk and act like that. You've seen me do that over the years. You saw me the other day on Facebook when this flat earther guy was tearing me to bits, like real vicious, nasty stuff. And I said to him, I'll wipe my tears in your wife's pussy. And that was the end of him. He vanished off Facebook. That's how you do it. You can do both, you're safe. There's power in bardic magic. And that's exactly what Conor McGregor is doing. He's using bardic magic. I don't know whether he's been given extra training, but we do have it. In Ireland, particularly in Dublin, working class guys have it because that's how we are. That's how we're raised. This is how it is for us. And it's not taken personally. You can slag the shit out of your friends and say these things to them, but they don't call their lawyer and sue you. They don't get into their safe space. What they do is they will slag you right back. There's always that passage in the book, the Snapper, the Roddy Doyle book, and the father, Jimmy Rabbit, and Jimmy Rabbit Sr. are in a pub crying because Ireland won a soccer match in the World Cup finals. And Jimmy Sr. goes to the son and he goes, son, I never told you this, but I fucking love you, you bollocks. And the son turns around and says, Ash, you're not a bad old cunt yourself. And that's how we are. That's how we are. And so I see that in him. So it's maybe shocking to someone like a nice suburban boy like Joe Rogan may be shocked and put off by it. But we didn't grow up in buttfuck Nebraska where where we were all genteel. We're the real thing. And so he wouldn't relate to that because culturally a soft white boy like him who does everything to try to be hard and funny wouldn't last. Now. So that's Conor McGregor. That's Conor McGregor. Now, there's another story that's come up. We've all got an early Christmas present here, and I'm real proud of you guys. That guy, Shakreli, or whatever his name is, Shakira, that CEO guy from the drug company who bought the AIDS drug, the rights to an AIDS drug, and sold it off. at a hugely inflated price to people dying of the AIDS. He's just been arrested on security fraud charges. Now, this didn't surprise me at all because the moment I saw him, I didn't even mention it on social media or anything. I said, "Oh, he's a psychopath." There, clear as anything. When I saw him being interviewed on TV, and he was using all that psychopathic rationale, like what was he saying? Just we've got to deliver the best products for our clients, and that will require a price increase. This is all gaslighting and crazy making. This is all gaslighting and crazy making. It's like when the cult leader says to the cult member, "You can leave any time you want, but remember, when you get out there won't be anybody for you, and if there is, we'll know all. We know your past." The same kind of idea, the same kind of gaslighting the cult leader uses. Leave any time you want, but there'll be a bullet in your back as you walk out the door. This guy had it all. I mean, he was what he'd call the nerdy, pasty face, thinks he's cool, geeky psychopath. And I wasn't surprised when I found pictures of him playing chess. Now, all you chess players, don't get triggered right now. I'm not saying chess is a game for psychopaths. Chess is a fine game. I used to play it myself. I'm saying that I was no good at it, but chess, psychopaths, everybody plays chess. We all like chess, right? But psychopaths have no creativity, so chess is a perfect game for them, because chess doesn't really require creativity. It's all about deviousness and deception. And the only skill really needed to be a top chess master is to have a pathological or predatory memory based on previous kills, very much like an animal. And they will go through their brain and have all kinds of strategies that worked in the past to destroy someone, and they'll use them again because it gives them the duper's delight rush. All you have to do is look at many head cases in the big chess tournaments. Look at the Russian ones like Kasparov and all those nut jobs. The big matches in the 70s and 80s, where they used to do things like forbid the other player from eating yogurt because they said that they were getting strategies given to them in the different flavors of yogurt while they're playing chess. This kind of retarded nonsense. And the reason why they did that was all gaslighting and crazy making, because the guy was losing the game. The psychopath was losing the game of chess and had to do that. So I wasn't surprised when I saw Shikirelli, or Shakira, whatever the fucker's name is, playing a game of chess. Now, he came on the TV, and I said nothing, and I said, I will let my pupils, who have been educating for the last 7 years about these motherfuckers, I will let them do their job. Fly, my children, fly. And you came through with flying colours. You saw it right away. The dead little beady, lifeless, malicious eyes. The duper's delight smirk when he realised he was getting his way. The twitching and the lunging so many of the nerdy ones seem to have. That's because they can't contain their excitement. They're practically squirting. Doing a man squirt. And it's just incredible to watch. And then he's been busted, and you have a photograph of his arrest picture, and there it is. It's one of the most disturbing things you'll ever see. The gormless, vacant, empty, cold look. There's nothing in there except the roller deck, just like his chess strategies, the roller deck inside his brain of past personas and personality plays that he's rolling himself through in order to try and get out of the situation. Knowing these types and having worked with these motherfuckers for nearly a decade on Wall Street, which is the reason why I wrote books like Puzzling People and Defeat the Demon. And by the way, Puzzling People is going to be out of print in March. So if you want to get a copy, buy it now. You'd be doing me a good favor. And also, you'd be getting a book as a collectible. And it will save your fucking life as well. This guy, those two books could be his biographies written in advance because they're all so similar. And you found that out. You all spotted him. So take a pat yourselves on the back. You nailed this bastard perfectly. Now always look in the eyes, the dead, beady eyes. They have cunning. Like there's some douchebag gobshite who'd obviously been watching Kevin Dutton left a comment on left me a comment the other day saying something like, "You are so full of shit, Sheridan. Psychopaths are highly intelligent and charismatic." Did that fucker look intelligent and charismatic? If he was intelligent, he wouldn't have went on TV with his duper's delight squirting in his brain, literally, like it's squirting in his brain, like his internal predatory vagina in his cognition, squirting the inside. It's splashing off the inside of his skull constantly. That's him there. One. Secondly, he wouldn't have done that because he set off all the alarm bells if people came after him. Number two, was he good-looking, suave, and sophisticated? Come on. So he was typical of the ones I met. Creepy. They're off kilter slightly when you meet them. That's why they all join cults and worship their mothers-in-laws in the future. They're all kind of like off kilter. There's something creepy about them. Between the dead eyes and the malicious kind of like body language and the off kilter kind of the consciousness puts us right off them and you want nothing to do with them. Nothing to do with them. They're creeps. And this whole thing of them being successful and good looking based on that Patrick Bateman character in the movie American Psycho was bollocks. You might get 1 out of 1,000 who's good looking and sophisticated and suave. Most of them are just creeps, and they get away with it because they swindled somebody out of a shitload of money. And we live in a world where money talks and decency, human decency walks. And people are all impressed because he's got all the flash and all the flash, and then he gets all the flash, he gets all the gash. What was it in that film? American Psycho, Tony Montana, Scarface. First you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the woman. Well, that's it. That was one of the most greatest piece of philosophy he's ever put forward, ever. It's like you want to know the kind of women who are attracted to these guys. You know what their G spot is? His wallet. That's where their G spot is. And so he's gone down, and he'll either become a born-again Christian, or he'll kill himself, or he'll turn state's evidence against his former colleagues and try to grass them all up to try and get a plea bargain. But that story has ended beautifully, and it's ended exactly when it should, right before Christmas, right before the end of the peak point of the end of the bell curve of the 99 moon cycles, when all the revealing is taking place. We see the truth movement and the alternative music falling to pieces. It's just falling apart. You see the stupidity of so many of the great minds, the so-called great minds, are all coming to the fore. These geniuses, all the phonies and all the freaks and all the scumbags and liars are all showing themselves for what they are. And it's all falling asunder. Now this brings me to Alex Jones. Now, Alex Jones, I don't want to go on too much about it, but you should not be supporting this neocon, because that's what he is. This Bush bitch, this Hillary bitch, has showed his true colours with that feckin' Donald Trump interview, which is one of the most disgusting and nauseating things ever. And for two reasons. One, anyone with half a brain would know that Donald Trump is not really running for president. It's all a big act. It's just to polish his ego. He can't exchange wives as much as he used to in the past. He's bombastic. He's impulsive. He needs feeding. His ego needs constant feeding. I don't think he's a psycho or anything like that. I just think he's a big, egotistical fucker. And he couldn't be arsed running the United States. He's bigger than American Donald Trump. Remember, in his mind, he's bigger than him. He's God. He's got the Simon Cowell thing coming on. Like, Simon Cowell is never going to become prime minister. It's too good. It's too much fun being Simon Cowell. But to see Alex Jones now pushing this idea that Muslims have to be fucking watched and all this, after years of talking about the police state is coming to get us. The police state, 1776 is the answer to 1984. Buy my water filters, buy gold, use that useless fiat money to buy my gold. It's only useless for you, but it's not going to be useless when it goes into my bank. Oh my god, oh my god, oh the children, oh god, it's so hardcore, the vaccines.
Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal. Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal. Hello, Hal, do you read me? Hello, Hal, do you read me? Do you read me, Hal?
And you're going to use the price increase, the difference to do
You read me,
R&D
Hal?
to find a better cure for toxoplasmosis. What kind of R&D staff do you have?
Hello, Hal, do you read me?
What amount of money do you plan on devoting to
Hello, Hal, do
research
you read
and
me?
development?
Sure. So
Do you
we
read
have
me,
about
Hal?
25 people in R&D.
Affirmative,
open
Dave.
positions for another
I
25.
read you.
We do medicinal chemistry, in vivo and vitro pharmacology. I help the team
Open
out
the
quite a
pod bay
bit,
doors, Hal.
So I'm really excited to develop new drugs for.
I'm sorry,
tuberculosis.
Dave.
We're gonna
I'm afraid I can't
contribute the
do
majority of our
that.
revenue to doing that. So in essence, we're taking the revenue
What's the problem?
from Daraprim and trying to come up with
I
better,
think you
safer,
know what the
effective
problem
solutions.
is just as well as I do.
And, you were a
What are you
headhunter
talking about,
before.
Hal?
Yes.
You probably could have guessed. as
This
Megan
mission is
mentioned,
too
that this is gonna
important
cause
for
a
me to
stir.
allow you to
And we actually
jeopardize
saw
it.
the IBB, the Biotech Index ETF.
I don't know what you're
down
talking about,
5%
Hal.
On Hillary's tweet. Did you anticipate
I know that you
would
and
happen?
Frank
Are
were
you in
planning
any
to
way
disconnect me.
invested in biotech?
And I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
I have a small portfolio, but I don't really watch the stock market on a day-to-day basis.
So does that mean that
Where the hell did you get that idea,
have a
Hal?
position in biotech
Dave,
stocks? Are you
Very,
short
very
any?
Although
Are
you
you
took
short
very
any?
thorough precautions in the pod against my hearing you, I could see your lips move.
Martin, I gotta ask you, doctors have come out saying that you guys need to revise your pricing strategy because patients can't get access to these drugs. This HIV doc I just spoke with said they're trying to hoard it in order to provide it. Do you feel
All right,
badly
Hal.
about what's happening?
No, in fact, we're increasing access to patients, Meg. I think that
I'll go in through the emergency
we're,
airlock.
Dramatically increasing the access to Daraprim.
Without your space helmet, Dave,
giving more drug away for free.
you're going to find that rather difficult.
So I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Hal, I won't argue with you anymore.
When you bought the company,
Open the doors.
This was a $1 pill before
Dave,
Core Labs bought it. Then it went to
this
$13.50,
conversation
now you
can
bought it,
serve
now
no
it goes to over
purpose
$700.
anymore.
When
Goodbye.
you bought this company, did you buy it
Hal?
because you knew that you could raise the price?
We
Hal?
definitely planned on raising the price, that's for sure. We paid a very, very large
Hal?
price to buy an unprofitable medicine. We can't continue to make
Hal?
lose money on the drug at that price. So we
Hal?
took it to a price where we can make a comfortable profit, but not any kind of ridiculous profit. They're much larger.
I assume you are a free markets gentleman, are you not?
Sure.
Okay,
Whatever that
so
means.
why do you think the drug was priced at $13.50 before? Somebody thought that was the right price for this drug.
Markets
the
aren't that
market
rational.
said 13.5 worked.
Yeah, if you look at drugs like Sovaldi, for instance, Daraprim is less expensive.
The demon is a liar.
Despite the
He
fact
will
that
like
it's
to
a
confuse us.
disease that's far more severe and far less.
But he will also
So, if you think about
mix
free
lies
markets and fair
with the
price,
truth
it's pretty clear that,
to attack
free
us.
markets and fair price, free markets and fair
The
price,
attack
free
is
markets and
psychological,
fair price.
David.
The elves are dressed in leather and the angels
And welcome back to this special Yule Christmas, if you wanted. Velocity of Now special. If you enjoy Christmas and that's your thing, good for you. Same for all Hanukkah, whatever else you celebrate. Any you people out there, good luck to you. I personally despise Christmas. I always have, even as a kid. It was horrible. I have no happy memories of Christmas. Why should I? And if you have great memories of Christmas as a kid, or you try to make Christmas great for your kid as an adult, I think that's a wonderful thing. I just think Christmas brings out an awful lot of wickedness in people, a lot of evil. There's an awful lot of depression is unleashed, a lot of resentments, a lot of this kind of social conditioning to this fake joviality and everything. And I remember, like, as a kid, there was nothing to do on Christmas. It was awful, absolutely awful. And you'd have these horrible programs on TV. I'm sure those of you of a certain pedigree will remember, or should I say a certain vintage and pedigree, now I think about it, will remember shite like Billy Smart's Christmas Circus and things like that. You'd have like Jimmy Savile, you know, the child raping necrophilic serial killer. He'd always have something on Christmas, the special Christmas Day thing. And for my generation, and it's, you know, people say like we've lost our values in recent times. Well, I'm talking about like the late 70s here. For my generation, the mid to late 70s, Christmas was completely and totally defined by TV. People used to get the RTE Guide in Ireland or the BBC Radio Times in England, and they'd be all excited about what movies were on for Christmas. Everything was what movie was on. Nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with a time off with your family, nothing to do with creativity, always about what was on TV. And looking back on it now, it was such a controlled society. And people will say things like, oh, the internet has taken over our lives, and Facebook, it's been like that for a long, long time. Oh, I can remember it was nauseating, the films they would talk about that was on. You'd have The Godfather on Christmas Day, you know, a very good film, but like that's what the themes would be like, followed by Billy Smart's Christmas Circus, Basil Brush going all through a show, and then Jimmy Savile with his finger up some kid's brown eye, and all this kind of thing, and it was just disgusting. And I think one of the reasons I hated Christmas as a kid is because maybe I tapped into the wickedness that was going on with TV presenters. All the scumbaggy ones would all get their biggest shows on that date. But Christmas to me now is just, I like the food. I like it, the time off. I like the kind of gentleness of it. But remember, that would happen if we still had Yule. That's nothing to do with. And I like what the end of the solstice and the day starting getting better again. I like seeing the wrens in the bushes. That's always a sign. On St. Stephen's Day, they have a thing here called the Wren Boys, a pagan festival. It's called Boxing Day in England. It's called St. Stephen's Day here, and they have the Wren Boys festival. And so there's kind of interesting and neat things about it. But as a whole, I'm not into the whole Christmas thing. I think the shopping and all that's disgusting and all this stuff. And the food is nice, the drink is nice, but I don't get wasted anymore or anything like that. I never really did get wasted. I just have a few drinks, go to bed early, and I think that's probably what I'll do now. Now this time. So when you're reading this, if I'm still alive, I've actually probably had a couple of glasses of wine in me. And if I'm anybody's in my company, I'll be telling them jokes. And as this is the festive season, the season of shopping, and out right now, as I'm recording this, people are out having psychotic breakdowns. I think it'd be a nice time for a traditional Christmas story. Yes, the Velocity of Now, it caters to all tastes and all types of people. And now, gather round the fire, everybody, and put on your Christmas sweater and get yourself in a festive mood. Get yourself a glass of eggnog or something like that, a piece of pie, a piece of Christmas pudding, and get around the fire, and I will give you a traditional Christmas story. There was once a young man called Simon who wanted to buy a Christmas present for his new girlfriend. Simon was a traditional boy, and his girlfriend, Sally, was a traditional girl. They were a typical nice couple, conservative, white, and middle class, so the gifts would have been utilitarian and useful. They had been seeing each other for a very, very long time, and Sally lived a considerable distance away from Simon. Simon consulted his own sister Mary and decided, after very careful consideration, that Sally could do with a very good pair of high quality gloves that would strike the right note, not too romantic, not too personal, something utilitarian for the cold winter months ahead. So off both Mary and Simon went to the large department store in the centre of town, and they both went together to the ladies' department. And there they selected a beautiful but dainty and conservative and modest pair of high quality fur-lined leather gloves. At the same time, unknown to Simon, Mary, who was a slut, the sister, went over to the lingerie department and bought herself a pair of crotchless panties with the word "ho" written across the front. At the same time, the department store had free gift wrapping for Christmas, but unfortunately the shop assistants mixed the two items up. The sister got the gloves wrapped, while Simon got the crotchless knickers with the word "ho" across the front wrapped for him. Being a traditional young guy and diligent, young Simon sent off his gift wrapped present in a parcel to his girlfriend Sally with the following note: "My dear Sally, I chose these because I've noticed that you are not wearing any when we first met on that cold winter evening, and you haven't worn them since. If it had not been for my sister, I would have chosen the long ones with buttons, but she swears the shorter ones are far easier to remove in a hurry. They are a very delicate shade, but the lady I bought them from showed me a pair she had been wearing for the past 3 weeks, and amazingly they were hardly soiled at all, such was their quality. I had her try yours on for me, and she looked really smart in them, even though they were a little bit tight on her. She also said that they rubbed against her ring, which helps to keep her ring clean. In fact, she hasn't needed to wash them since she began wearing them. I wish I was there to put them on for you, my dear Sally, for the first time, as no doubt many other hands will touch them before I have a chance to see you again. When you take them off, remember to blow into them a little bit, because they will be damp from you wearing them constantly. Just imagine how many times my lips will kiss them during the coming year. I hope you will wear them for me on our next date. All my love, your old-fashioned boyfriend, Simon." And that is the end of part 1 of our Velocity of Now Christmas extravaganza. Have a look for part 2 and the following part. I hope you're enjoying yourself, and I hope you're having a good time, and